Hola, whizzy wizards, and welcome back to the pursuit of happiness with me, Pigtail Girl, your friend and fellow wizard. It's been a kind of sad day and sad night due to the assassination of Charlie Kirk. So my thoughts go out to his family and his loved ones. And I think what's so sad about these events is one, to see people after a tragic event actually celebrating. That's kind of a sad state of humanity, really, to witness. That's very much death cult mentality to celebrate death. Whether you like someone or agree with them or not, you should not really be celebrating assassinations of people. I can't say that I was really a follower of Charlie Kirk. And I probably didn't really even agree with a lot of the things he had to say as someone who's not into Elohim cults. And I'm certainly not a extremely right-wing person by any shape or form. I just try to go where the people are speaking sense and find some common ground and resonate with them. But nobody really deserves that. Not for someone who was very non-violent, didn't attack anyone or, didn't go out and actually physically harm anyone. He just had an opinion that some people didn't like. So that's very sad. And that did sort of affect me. And my message at the beginning of the year, some time ago, was try not to get too emotionally involved in 2025 with what's going on, because I knew it was going to be a rough ride this year, because we are in a culmination of thousands and thousands of years of war on this planet with this invading ET race, the Elohim, the Anunnaki, the negative reptilians. You can call them the Volshadei, which is the name that they're known by other ETs. And how do I know this? Go and listen to the Time Chronicles. It's all explained there. But yeah, the ET battle this year, I knew it was going to get rough. And what they really want is division, right? It's what they always want. Astral entities, negative forces, minions. What they always want to sow is that division. What they want is whenever the water becomes too calm, they want to make it choppier and choppier. So everything's flying around, because the last thing they want is unity between humans. Because when those Elohim arrived and they seeded their religions from the get-go, it was all about dividing people up amongst the Elohim, and then the Elohim using them like in battles against each other for who was going to be given land. That originally land wasn't owned by people. It belonged to everyone. So land ownership, war, battles, they started it all. And of course, with what we've been doing with the Warriors of Light, returning and restoring the proper matrix and taking away their ability to harvest the souls that they came here to harvest, that they want to feed into that vol energy, that Wetiko virus, you might want to call it, if you know that term, the dark side of the force, which is very real. It's not the Abrahamic idea, though. It's not like some devil in hell trying to control us. It's all of the other beings. When you actually look at the Old Testament, you can see Yahweh is quite a psychopath. And actually, I was drawn to read the story of Sodom and Gomorrah recently. And I was going back over some of the old stories that really show that, you have to remember that the archangels were working for the Elohim psychopaths, and they are not the true angels at all. They really are not the true angels. And this is a message I really try to get out there, because I see a lot of archangel worship going on. So the story of Sodom and Gomorrah, and of course, the story is written by the victors, the scribes, the prophets of the Elohim. So of course, their enemies are always described very badly. We're told that they behave very badly, that they have no ethics or morals. But the story of Sodom and Gomorrah is Abraham is saying to Yahweh, please don't just wipe out these cities. What if there are some righteous men and women and children amongst them, are you going to wipe out the righteous too? So already you have a human with a higher ethical level than so-called God, which is a red flag right away when your moral and ethical code is higher than the so-called creator of the whole universe. So Yahweh says, well, if you can find me 10 righteous people, then I'll spare them. Not that he was ever going to spare them anyway, but so the story goes. And so they send 3 angels, and I believe they were Archangel Gabriel, Archangel Michael, and Archangel Raphael, I believe I found out. So Gabriel is always involved with all of the genocide, the wiping out, the impregnations, and the delivery of the word of the ET Yahweh. So he's serving a psychopath. And as shown by the many genocides Yahweh carried out and his authoritarian rule, do as I say or else I smite you. And so the 3 angels are at a house. It's Lot, isn't it? It's Lot and his family. And, apparently 2 men come knocking on the door and want to have sexual intercourse with the 3 angels. They've heard the 3 angels are there. I don't believe they saw them as angels. They saw them as human men, I guess. And but Lot offers up his virgin daughter to the men in the place of the angels. And this is seen as a sign of righteousness by Yahweh. A man offering up his virgin daughter to a bunch of so-called rapists is seen as righteous by Yahweh. And because of this, Lot's family is supposedly saved, and Yahweh still smites the whole place with his weapons of mass destruction. And you know the rest of the story where they're told to run and not look back, but Lot's wife looks back. Now, in the real world, do you think that sounds like a great ethical, moral story that teaches you something about the world? To offer up a female child in place of 3 grown men who could actually defend themselves, instead of him, Lot, and the 3 grown men getting some sticks or weapons and beating the men and telling them to leave the house, which might be a little bit more moral and ethics, to defend the women and children in the house and defend yourself and defend your home. No, it's righteous and moral to offer up your virgin daughter. Right, and this is what the Old Testament is full of with stories of Yahweh, absolutely disgusting stories of genocide, and the archangels were all involved in it. If you go back and read it, I mean, Bible study people seem to think these stories are holy and teach us so much. Yeah, they teach you that Yahweh was a psychopathic warmonger who genocided everyone, and probably what they even said about Sodom and Gomorrah wasn't even factually correct. They were probably just humans who didn't want to come under the control of Yahweh. And so even today we see in our world that was seeded by those beings, because anyone that disagreed with them, they wiped out, and they seeded groups of people that were under their control through their religions and who would do exactly what they were asked. Righteous just meant you followed obediently the orders of Yahweh exactly. And if you didn't follow them exactly, Yahweh would often just smite you. Like smite you for hardly anything at all. Hadn't really even done anything. Like burn the wrong incense. That's death for you. Right. So anyway, I was looking at these stories recently, just looking at the many times where the archangels, so-called, because they weren't really, they were just ET soldiers, were involved in terrible stories from the Old Testament, doing terrible things that, my ethical, moral standards is higher than theirs. That's telling you this is not God. This is not a story about the creator of all that is. Because and think today, where is any smiting going on? And it's because the ETs went into hiding from the real angels and the other friendlier ETs that are here trying to protect us. So they had to hide underground or in their burrows or where they hide out, because they didn't want to be smited So, but that's why they need the human minions that they can manipulate. So anyway, that's why, I don't believe in Abrahamic stories, but still, you have to keep your ethical moral code strong in times like this and not go over to the dark side of the force, right? So even if you see someone you don't like or disagree with, you shouldn't be celebrating terrible acts of cowardice and violence, no matter what they are. You should celebrate justice being served. And sure, when a country really is under tyranny, if they have to rise up and free themselves, like, and that's an actual thing, like what's going on in Nepal right now, sure, sometimes those things have to happen. But just things like assassinating people for having a different viewpoint to you in a world where freedom of speech is really under attack right now, it's a very sad thing to witness, and certainly not something I will be celebrating, even if I didn't really follow Charlie Kirk or agree with a lot of the things he thought or had to say. I always found him to be someone that wanted to at least debate things and open up a debate and just use freedom of speech to try to find some connection, I guess, or to discuss things rather than using, violence to sort out problems. So yeah, that was a sad day. And it's a year where what they really want to divide us, divide and conquer. It's the Elohim Anunnaki way, is to divide people into warring groups that will see each other as the bad guys, demonize each other, and then attack. That's what they love to do that. And it was also something that I was thinking about was how powerful that movement of the 99% was, and how they really desperately pulled out so many stops of division to try to erase that from our memory. Remember those days when everyone was unifying because we realized we were the 99%. And then as soon as they managed to sweep that away, suddenly ISIS appeared. And now we weren't the 99%. It was us against those Muslim extremists. And this is how they see the division. That's what they do. They stoke a fire. They pit little groups of people against each other. And then they try to label entire groups of people as the bad guys or the enemies and get us all fighting. I mean, that's been their MO since they got here. It's all about mind control, brainwashing, division. It's all about the division, and the division leading to violence, because they love a little bit of death, don't they? When you're a death cult, you love a little bit of death. And if you can harvest those souls, even better. That's what they love. So anyway, I just came on here to share a few of my thoughts with you today. Some things that I've been pondering and thinking about recently. And just to remind people to try to keep themselves nice and centered. Don't allow yourself to get pulled into too much division, and don't allow your moral and ethical code to become distorted by people with very distorted ethical and moral codes, i.e. psychopaths, minions, and very unhinged people. Don't allow yourself to be affected by the unhinged behavior. And also, it's very important when terrible things happen not to label an entire group as being blamed for it. Everyone is to blame for their own actions, and then you're to blame for how you react to certain, stimuli and what goes on in the world. We're all responsible for self at the end of the day. And I think that Elohim blanket coverage of just demonizing entire groups so you can just genocide them is a very negative thought virus that has infected humanity and allows us to do terrible things in the name of our beliefs and justify it to ourselves. So those are my thoughts for today, my lovelies. And I just wanted to mention again the Otter Spirit crystal bracelets, because they've sent me a little extra coupon code for you to get a little bit of an extra discount. I'm wearing these two today because I just really wanted to feel grounded and stabilized. So got my garnet and red jasper on today. And when you buy these, some money goes to support the American otters. That's why I just love this company. And I really do love their crystal bracelets. I feel great energy from them. And they've really helped me stabilize my emotions and my moods today. So I've been wearing these two. So if you want to check that out, do check out their extra discount coupon code in my description box. And to remind you, if you want to book body talk sessions with me, or get an amazing personal subliminal made, because I make personal subliminals that are catered directly for your consciousness, so it can target exactly what you want to target. And I use my body talk scanning process to ascertain what would be the best subliminal for you for whatever it is you're targeting. Do also check out my Calendly links. You can book my services, my loving services that will really help you transform and become the best version of yourself. In a world going crazy, we all need a little healing and a little bit of help. And so I'm just going to be keeping my focus there. Keep on keeping on, my darling wizards. Be strong, and lots of love to everyone. And I will see you on the next episode of The Pursuit of Happiness. One love.